Questions and answers. Thought creates matter. How does it work? How thoughts materialize. When this or that thought comes, a light lights up. If the thought is short-lived, then the light goes out after some time. But if the thought is constantly supported, then the flame will flare up. It's like throwing wood into a fire. The energy of fire dissolves in space, attracting the necessary energies, people, situations, circumstances. This leads to the realization of conceived plans or dreams. For implementation, it is important to do something today. When a thought comes, at that moment it is necessary to do. Just as the energy for this thought is gathered today, tomorrow there will be another energy. 3 important factors. 1. Concentration. 2. Focus on the present moment. 3. Repetitive movements. Observer's position. Observation assemblage point repetition. How to limit yourself from the negative influence of others. It is enough just to know that in my world, the energy around me contains positive, high vibrations. Consequently, all the environment that has entered my world emits the corresponding vibrations. Keep concentrating on this setup. If concentration is lost, the power of thought to return it to the proper point. Mismatched energies either disappear from our field of attraction, or raise their vibrations and synchronize with the vibrations of the energy flow of our world. Why does a person need sleep? When we sleep, we return to our usual state. We can say that we need to reboot, update. At the moment of awakening, we are a new hologram. There was a correction. Some of the energies were cleansed and new ones joined. Why are some families born, only girls, only boys, sick children? This is a consequence of energy components. And of course, at the moment when the vibration frequency of the new hologram resonates with the hologram of the parents and the energies connect, then depending on which waves prevail, this form is obtained. Male or female projection. As for the children we call with disabilities, this happens for the same reasons. There are not enough components. But this does not mean that they are not quite intelligent beings. On the contrary, they may not be fully adapted to earthly life, but they still know that they are part of infinite love. Since society cannot influence them, they carry this knowledge all their lives. As a rule, they are kind and give love to those around them. They do not experience the negative emotions inherent in a person, so they accumulate only high-frequency vibrations. Their lifespan is shorter as it is difficult for them to maintain a hologram of a man. They are no longer earthly than earthly, and they are drawn to their source. They do not care about our earthly values. The only thing they want to accept and give love, true love. How do parents, unconsciously, project a hologram of unhealthy children? Scrolling and energizing the thought, my child is special, but without specifying what his peculiarity is. So it turns out that the child is special in all respects. No one would think of refuting this fact. Does lineage affect our karma? The concept of karma, as such, does not exist. There is the energy of the memory of the lineage. And yes, if the hologram man has attracted vibrations that affect the quality of life into its field, it will not be able to project life without problems. They will have to be solved. So to speak, you need to get rid of negative energy. What is real and what is not? Everything we believe in is real. When we believe in something, we attract the appropriate vibrations and project our world. Until we focus on something, it doesn't exist for us. In other words, until we observe it. We used to think that everything that happens in life just happens. We take it for granted. But no, nothing happens just like that. We thought about it and it came into our lives. Yesterday we did not know about the existence of cell phones, and today we cannot imagine our life without them. Some things are in the order of things for someone, and someone does not know anything about them. And when he discovers the existence of such, he is very surprised, indignant, discouraged. And this is understandable. Simply, this was not in his world. But now it appeared as for some reason he focused on it and nourished it with his energy. As an example, consider the life of a huntsman. His world, his reality, his nature, the forest, the animals, the limited number of people in his environment. He knows nothing about the metropolis. It's his choice. For the hermit monk, there are no games of world order. This is not the case in his world. People living in villages do not know half of what is happening in big cities. Someone accepts aliens as an integral part of the universe, and for someone it is complete nonsense. Everyone has their own reality. This is the versatility of the infinite universe. And this also explains so many inconsistencies, misunderstandings, and disagreements. Hence the expression, how many people, so many opinions. Who said that they must match? This, in principle, is impossible. We see the general picture of the world, but it is not unambiguous. Each of us has our own world, which we have created ourselves. The general picture of the world is the information field of the universe, to which we are all connected and which consists of many variants of events. We, unconsciously, choose what events are destined to happen. In other words, which vibrations of the energy connections to connect to. It seems that it does not depend on us. It does not depend when we go on about the circumstances. In this case, like is attracted to like and follows into predetermination. When we consciously decide in which direction we should move, direct our attention to a certain result, then we create our reality. What to believe or not, the choice is always ours. But, often the people around us impose their world on us and, through manipulation, force us to live their lives. In this situation, discomfort, dissatisfaction with life, sadness, depression appear in the soul. And we don't understand why. After all, it seems to us that we are doing everything right. Why is that? Because it's not our life. And we are doing the right thing for someone, but not for ourselves. All of us from time to time are faced with such a fact. A friend or girlfriend found their terrifying information on the internet. And, without fully comprehending it, they decided to share it with us. And this is alien to us. We tell them that this is utter nonsense. But they begin to convince us that we are not distant, the whole world knows about it, and it is so obvious. As long as they convince us, they themselves begin to believe with increasing force. The more we resist, the more they press. Eventually, we come home and start looking for information. And, of course, we find it. The more we immerse ourselves in the world of this information, the more we are drawn into it all. And one way or another, we let the energy of these events into our world. So, what was not real for us before has become part of our lives. The word is energy, thought is energy, any information is energy. It's all around energy. It is necessary to observe what energy vibrational components we come into contact with. Our reality, our world, and the quality of life depend on it. What happens during clinical death? With clinical death, the soul enters the information field and reads information there to one degree or another, depending on the wave vibrations that it emits. It sees holograms of high frequencies of oscillations, energy compounds of a higher order, comes into contact with them, thereby increasing its component of the frequencies of energy vibrations and updates its hologram of man. Therefore, everyone around them notices changes in the physical plane and in the behavioral aspect. The vibrations are purer, the values are higher. How to control your world if the world is ruled by others? I watched the video on YouTube and I'm amazed. Everyone says, they are this, they are this. Who are they? Maybe it's enough to ask who and why, and thereby shift the blame to them. It's time to take responsibility. After all, whoever and what comes up with it, we bring it to life. We, each of us, are the masters of our lives. Each individually creates his own world, which interacts with the worlds of the people around us. More precisely, their energetic vibrations resonate with ours. Therefore, it seems that we are a part of this world. In fact, every person, events, circumstances are elements of our world. Example, when, for certain reasons, we are not on the way with a person, he is automatically removed from the circle of communication, falls out of sight for an indefinite period, and maybe forever. His vibrations are no longer on our wavelength and his hologram is replaced by other frequencies and another character of our cinema called life is projected. In other words, other people, circumstances, landscapes appear in our social circle. The reboot happens all the time, we just don't notice it. Not all, of course, there are people who have understood the system of the universe and successfully use it. Unfortunately, there are those who use it not for the benefit of society, manipulating it by influencing energy flows by means of sound perception. Thus, reality is distorted. Hence the question, we all dream of a bright future, but it does not materialize in any way. What's the mystery? The answer is in the question itself. A bright future. But we will never live in the future as we always do in the present. The future always remains in the future, just as the past is always in the past, and we are always in the present. So much for the truth that is always there. April 1st, 2020. Spain is in quarantine for 3 weeks due to the coronavirus epidemic, Italy for the second month, Russia for 3 days. Contradictory information is circulating on the internet. Who? For what? From where? What for? On television, the frightening numbers of dead and infected per day, like a relay race in which country is larger. And from morning to evening, this information is repeated and repeated. And behind it is a crisis. The economy is in decline. And all on the internet for answers. And there, as on a silver platter, versions of who, why. Oh, damn it. Of course, thoughts are born, even if we survive. What kind of world will we get into? And even those who were cheerful at the beginning are now thinking about it. And someone on the internet shouts, "We were deceived, dispersed like dogs to their homes." There is no threat from the virus, this is a red herring. And what to do? We don't want to play by their rules. So don't play. Create your own world in which there is none of this. We are all tired of working, dreaming of relaxing, redoing all household chores, being in the family, and much more. And thought, it is material. So we got into this situation. They did not think through the details and were left without beaches, walks, travel. It is very important to correctly formulate your desires so as not to fall into your own trap and then not blame someone. How to protect yourself from the manipulation of others? This question can be answered in one word, mindfulness. It is enough to realize the fact that they are trying to do this to us. And in order to notice the manipulation of others, you must always observe yourself in the present moment. Here and now. I'm walking, I'm going, I'm talking. And not like this, I'm going to work, now this and that will start again. This is the future, albeit not distant. In addition, we have already programmed the course of events that might not have happened, but we have prescribed them, materialized them. So, if we're in the present moment, we're seeing that moment. And if something goes wrong, we will immediately notice and fixing it, say stop, this is not in my scenario of my life. And, therefore, we will not allow them to do to us in a way that does not suit us. When a few times the clever tricks do not work, we will simply be left alone. How to determine which experiences are mine and which are someone else's? Our thoughts are positive, even if we are going through a negative experience. We analyze the mistakes and circumstances that prompted us to take certain actions, recognize them as a fact that has happened, and find a solution. More often than not, we suffer from other people's vibrations, mistaking them for our own. Almost always. Learn to separate our feelings and emotions from those imposed on us by others. When we worry about something, we need to stop the flow of thought forms for a moment and clean up unnecessary garbage. First, you need to understand the cause of the effect. What causes exactly such a construction of a chain of thinking? Analyze events or phrases provoked by the environment around us, on which we are obsessed. To determine the moment when we became infected with negative vibrations, where there was a deviation from our usual thinking, when parasites joined. The moment we find it, we stop feeding it, block the channels and return to the desired mode. We can't let go of anything until we understand what it is. The thought forms imposed on us always revolve in relation to the person or circumstances that imposed their programs on us. This is what gives them away. To understand such a simple phenomenon is to expose where the destructive currents are going and to disconnect from them. How do I know if I'm on the right track? When a person lives in the harmony of his world, then all actions, thoughts, and deeds awaken a sense of flight, joy, and satisfaction. You can't go wrong. Is it possible to influence the coherent structure of the subtle world? Of course, because we are a part of this subtle world. By understanding its chain reaction, we trigger our own, or more precisely, our own field of our material world. Understanding our material world as a field created by the frequency of vibrations and knowing how to increase their frequency, it is possible to create a field of a high-frequency parameter. The relationship between the microcosm and the macrocosm is obvious. How to collect the necessary amount of energy to project the desired result? First, focus your attention at the very point of what you want and keep it there. I know. I have. To do this, you need to determine this assemblage point, idea, and collect energy. Sometimes it takes years, as we are often distracted by other programs of life, in particular, and by the programs of the life of our environment. Secondly, it is necessary to reach the desired frequency of vibrations. This is necessary in order to enter the flow. Vibrations are more important than the energy itself, in the way that vibrations create forms. Therefore, you need to constantly be in that state of euphoria, as at the moment when the spark of the idea shone. For example, in order to grow a flower, it is necessary to take a seed, the energy that creates the hologram of the seed, plus a pot, e.g., plus earth, E.Z, plus water, E.V, plus sun, E.S. When everything is ready, it remains to wait for the result. Every time we water a seed, we focus our attention on it, that is, we direct the flow of energy to the assemblage point. Another example. In order to buy groceries, we go to the grocery store, not to the furniture store. Also, to get what you want, you need to be in the right place at the right time. You need to come to the store during its opening hours, and not at the hour when it is closed. At the energy level, in order to get what you want, you need to detect the necessary vibrations and get into their flow. It is possible to get into the stream when this wave passes through our space. You need to catch it and cling to it. And then she herself will carry where she needs to go. What is the soul? The soul is an energetic construct of energy. The soul can exist independently in the energy plane. The matrix of the soul has energy cells in the form of honeycombs, designed to collect and store energy. How does reality change? Variants of events have thin boundaries, they are easy to cross. For a better understanding, I will give this example. Two people are on the same straight line in a stationary state. Suppose they are sitting in a chair opposite each other. At this point, they are in the same version of events. One of them gets up, says goodbye and leaves. The person sitting in the chair remained in the same position, in the same version of events. The person who left changed his space-time line. How can this be explained? Scientists, with the help of experiments, found that when an object moves, time slows down. And this means that we never move in a straight line. There are no straight lines in space, just as everything is energy, and these are vibrations.